I saw him drilling over there to the right side, and he saw me, and he was kind enough to just walk on over and introduce himself. And we shook hands, and he asked me who I am and what I do. And after I told him what I do, he says, I'd like to do a talk with you. And I said, I'd like to do a talk with you. We shook hands. So that's how we got started. And since then, we've met more than a few times and get to talk a little bit and share some commonality, not just in the sport, but in life, and how we can overcome these tough things in our life to be successful. So, it's in front of you, but also a couple little extra things in here that I thought I'd add. When we look at the inducted into the International Wrestling Hall of Fame, keep in mind that only 6 Americans in the history have ever been inducted to the International Wrestling Hall of Fame. Lee is humble, and I know he won't talk too much about it, so I'll do it for him. My background in wrestling, to truly grasp what it takes to be at that level and to be that consistently good for the period of time that he will share with you that he did it, is amazing. And what he'll also share with you are the tough times in his life and what he's had to do to overcome it. And if there's any one thing here when you leave today, is you realize, never lose hope. Never lose it. Never give up. I don't care how tough things get in a business or in life, never, ever give up. Because guess what? There's a lot of sunshine on the other side. And there's always a little less traffic on that extra mile, so earn it. All right, everybody, Mr. Lee Kemp. So I thought, Lee, what do you think? Can we hit that?
Yeah, we can show that now.
Let's show that now, I think. Yeah, great. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Oh, honor and a privilege. It's good, you know.
What attracted me to him was his energy. I mean, I saw him as guy and I'm there. I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. Who is this guy? You know?
Yeah. All right.
And he's real. He's
Thank you. Let's see. So we'll get it back to. That's all right. We got a few seconds to get this. A few minutes to get that done. Yeah, I'm a pretty low-key, shy guy, so I think I'm going to sit back and enjoy this. Oh, awesome.
Just put it on the brightest lights and the biggest pressure. He was just cool and calm, and just kind of, that's how he was. He was going to be the favorite.
No, we have to go with that.
Chances of going away were extremely high. And I'm going to tell you right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Pia.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
There's no easy dance. Whenever you go to wrestling, you can. Please, watch this story. You can wrestle one match and win. You wrestle another match and win. Win. I didn't have to worry about race. I didn't have to worry about politics. I didn't have to worry about anything other than just winning. He put on the brightest lights, the biggest pressure. He was just cool and calm, and just kind of went about his business. He was going to be the favorite to win the Olympic Games. His chances of winning were extremely high. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Russians practiced to beat him.
Now I have notified the Olympic Committee that with Soviet invading forces in Afghanistan, neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
He worked all this time to be the #1 wrestler in the world. And he took it away. In the sport of wrestling, the Olympic gold medal is incredible.
You can be a world champion for the next 20 years, but if you don't win the Olympics, people don't know about you.
He disappeared. Everyone just lost track of him. When he went to jail, that was the lowest point of his life. You talk about a joke, he really was about to be a joke. I mean, all he had left was time. I believe that this sport of wrestling saved Lee Kemp's life by pulling him out of that, and he saw what he could become again.
The greatest gift we can give is passing on knowledge. And Lee Kemp has done that in spades.
is a hero. He is a wrestling hero.
I feel somebody like that should be praised because he is one of the biggest American wrestlers of all time.
I will forever be grateful for the legacy that he kept left behind for me to follow.
You would never think that, you know, he saw a fly, but you don't want to get in the ring with him.
Awesome.
Thank you for setting that up, appreciate that.
Well, it's awesome being here, and Dan, thank you for inviting me to be here. I give a lot of talks concerning achievement and overcoming adversity and coming back from disappointments and all kinds of things like that, which can be applied to business, it can be applied to anything in life. And I, through my life after wrestling, had the opportunity to work in business. I owned a business, a car dealership, so I went for 14 years. I went through the process of trying to build a team there and, wanting to be the best and all that. And I hear, Dan's comments and I see this company wanting to strive to be the best, and that's really cool because that's what you're here for, right? I mean, you might as well try to be the best you can be. I kind of relate that to like my son, for instance. He's a wrestler. He's kind of followed in my footsteps a little bit, and he's putting time in, and I'm challenging him to be the best. And he's like, Dad, I'm never going to be as good as you. That's not the point. The point is just be as good as you can be. And you feel good about yourself when you're really giving your all. When you think about the times you've been the happiest in your life, it's the times that you knew you gave your all. Doesn't matter. Like I heard a parent once talking to their child, and the child got like a D or C on a test, and the child said, wow, that, I flunked it before, got a D this time. And the child got a little bit of praise from the parent because he improved. And let's just improve as good as you can be. But to the trailer, as you saw, the one key point I always start out with, because that's what everybody sees, that point in the trailer where I had that spot in my life where I had a really tough time. And I had been, the great wrestler, had done all this great stuff. I was married, I had 3 kids, and I had a business. We were doing well, a car dealership, and it just seems like overnight I lost everything. Lost my marriage, the business. My kids were gone. It was horrible. It was just something I just couldn't believe it happened to me. It was one of the most incredibly difficult things I've ever gone through in my life. But I can say to you that as the trailer brought out, the thing that brought me back was to just go back to my roots, sort of, if I can use that term. And it allowed me to see what I could become again. And the central theme that was consistent in all of it was commitment. Any achievement has to start from being committed to something. But commitment takes a lot of different levels. And a lot of people are committed, and they think they're committed just because they show up every day. And we give a lot of credit sometimes to people that show up every day. I can remember, how many people got an award in elementary school for just being like a attendance award, right? Well, showing up every day isn't really enough, really. Some people, and you may think of this in a business setting, and as managers, you may wish some of the people that work for you didn't show up because they're not really contributing very much to the whole process. But if your mindset is just dialed into just showing up, and there's quotes that I've heard that sound cool, like half of success or life is showing up every day. Well, that's cool. You have to be there before anything can happen. But it's what you do once you're there. What type of commitment do you have? Are you committed to see this thing through the end? And I can tell you, when I was in that dark place in my life, I was committed to getting back on my feet, seeing my kids again. I just wanted to be successful again. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I've talked to a lot of people that they just never got back on their feet. They use whatever negative thing happened into their life, whether it was a job or a divorce or whatever, an injury or an illness, they just never got back on their feet. I'm sure some of you in the room have been around people who maybe have a terminal illness, and when you're around them, they're happy. And you think, how can you be happy? I even asked someone, how can you have so much joy? And you're just in this situation. Joy is different than happiness. You can be unhappy because of something that pain or whatever. But joy is just something you have internal. it's bigger than you. So I had to bring myself into a place that was bigger than the problem that I had. I didn't know I was ever going to be successful in anything again. I just had to get back to trying. And I don't think we give enough credit to people that try. And sometimes I've had people say, well, I'm just not even going to try because I know I can't achieve it. No, that's not the point. The point is just to try and give it your best effort. So I would say the commitment part of life is huge, but the thing that adds to commitment, that makes it real, is your acceptance of everything that it goes into being a champion. For instance, when I was a young wrestler and I was trying to become successful, I was committed. I wanted to be a champion, but I didn't like I hated running. I hated running. I hated the grind that running was, and I didn't see how running could help me become a good wrestler, because wrestling was wrestling. I loved being in the room. I loved doing what I loved to do, but I didn't like doing all the other stuff the coach wanted me to do. And until I learned to accept all that the job entailed, I didn't start having great success. So in a business setting, it's the same thing. I'm sure there's things about your job you don't like, but it's not about what you like. It's not about, and you may think, I'm committed, I'm here, you know, I've been here for 15 years, 10 years, whatever, 5 years, I'm committed. Well, okay, I've never been late, okay, but how come you don't do this, this, and this? Well, because I don't like doing those things. I don't see how that adds to the goal of the company. Well, it's not your decision to think about that. So when I was a young wrestler, I was pretty good. I was recruited. I was the #1 athlete, and I couldn't understand why the coach wanted me to do this, others running and all these other drills. I just wanted to get back in here and wrestle, because I felt I was the best guy on the team. Maybe there was a little bit of ego there. But until that coach was strong enough to set me down and say, Lee, you have to do these other things if you want to be good. And he was looking me in my eye, and I could tell that he didn't think I was convinced. He said, now, if you're not convinced, I'm going to tell you, you have to do those things because you won't be on the team otherwise. so then I kind of stepped back. Okay, I start doing those things, because I was kind of flexing a little bit. I was the best guy on the team, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. Our kids do that to us, don't they?
Yeah.
How many have kids who kind of tell them to do something, they look at you like, well, I don't know if I want to do that or not. And you're like, what? When I was your age, I'd have been knocked on the floor. But leaders have to be strong enough to say, look, this is, unless you want to get your own company, you got to do this. Well, my coach did that to me. I thanked him a lot for that. And, I could tell it was hard for him, but I don't know what he was prepared to do with my answer. But I thought he was serious, and so I just started doing those things. And as I started doing those things, I could just feel I was getting better. I was in better shape. It just gave me a more of a well-rounded. It just made me more prepared. And the funny thing, after I accepted it, this is the third step, which on that path to success. The first is commitment, and then acceptance of the full job, the full commitment. I started to like what I was doing. And I'll put this in perspective, a lot of, I don't know if this is kind of personal, but, I meet a lot of couples that are married, but they don't even seem like they like each other. But they're together, so they have a bigger reason for being together. But I think you can't start having success in anything until you like the person or like what you're doing. And it takes time maybe to like someone. I'll use the marriage example again. I've heard people, both men and women, say, I just grew to like this person. And then everything got better. Well, I grew to like running. I became a guy who was winning the races. After practice, we go down and run, and I just knew I had to do it, so I just tried to do the best I could at it. But it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to push yourself to that place where you start to like all aspects of the job. And you have to believe in your management team, because they've set out this plan of success, and you've got to believe in the plan. And the worst thing in the world is someone always kind of poking holes in your plan. And I put that back in an athletic context, because I'm a coach, and I've had a lot of success, and I'm trying to tell a young athlete how to be successful, and they're trying to tell me how to be. Even my son, I've had to remind him, hey, I have won a couple world championships. Don't you want to listen to me? Why are you deciding and saying what you'd rather do, and what so it just gets hard for me to figure that out. But the moment you just accept the plan, And there may be parts of the plan that you don't like at first, but you just gotta just get into it, do it. And once that switch gets flipped in your brain and you actually start liking what you're doing, then a wonderful thing happens. And I call that mastery can begin. And that's what happened to me. I just became a very, very good wrestler and athlete and competitor. And there's three things, and they're all different. I've known people who were athletic, but they weren't good competitors. They just didn't compete well. They didn't do all the things necessary to add to their athleticism. And then the middle part of it, comes with it. So I kind of learned how to develop all three of those. And I think the mental part was probably the biggest part of my success. Just being able to understand how to win. Sure, there's a lot of good athletes out there, and even in a business setting, there's a lot of talented people for various reasons. They're smart, or they can figure things out, whatever. But if they don't do those other things, someone else with less talent could become much more valuable than them. So I kind of figured that out, and the thing that which is amazing is we all get to certain places in our life where we think we've kind of made it, sort of. And we're like, well, okay, I don't have to work as hard, and then the rug gets pulled out. Like the thing that happened to me, man. I'm running a dealership, and I got 3 beautiful kids at home. I was married. I didn't think as bad as they were, and it just boom, within a matter of a week, my life was just upside down. So it's taught me humility, and maybe, I didn't think I needed to be humbled like that, but we never think we do. And when it happens, you have one or two directions to go. And there's a movie that always sticks in my mind. There was a phrase in there quoted by Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption. You ever see that movie? Mm-hmm. Where Morgan, I can't remember his name in the movie, but he goes to prison. He's had a life sentence, but he gets out for 30 years or something. And so these inmates, they don't know how to live in society anymore. So that scene in the movie where he gets let out, and he's in this hotel or whatever that they have for the people that come out, and he goes out trying to work, and he just says, I can't do this. He's going to go hang himself like many people have done before, and he didn't. And he said this phrase before he left. He said, you got to get busy living or get busy dying. And I said that same phrase when I went through all that. I said, well, yeah, you feel sorry for yourself, you don't know why it happened, and you gotta just some point stop, okay, I'm gonna get busy trying to build my life again, or I might as well just get busy dying. Because you feel yourself slowly slipping away, So in life every day you do that. So I find sometimes if I don't feel like working out, or I don't feel like doing something in particular, it doesn't have to be as dismal as get busy living or dying, but I do say those words like, come on, Lee, get to practice. Get busy living or get busy dying. Get better, or you're just going to get worse. And whatever you're doing, whether it's trying to learn something new, whether it's in my case trying to help these fighters get better. I have 3 kids. I've been reunited with my kids, and the movie kind of brings all that out. And the movie came about just out of nowhere. I never would have asked to have a movie made about me. I've never been something I would have thought I was worthy of. I don't think my life was that great or interesting. I talk to people every day that they've gone through a lot more difficult things than I have. And I always say to them, man, there should be a movie about your life, because what you're going through is way harder than what I've gone through. But it happened, and there was an investor that wanted to do it, and it's amazing how it all happened. It's a divine thing. I'm a spiritual person. I believe that God has a divine plan for our life, and I believe there is an ultimate creator. And just the things that have occurred in my life, they just couldn't have been random. It could have been, and me going through what I went through, there was a reason for it. I don't know why at the time. Sometimes you always wonder. But I've heard people that have gone through horrible things, and they make this comment that always seems stupid to me. They say, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm like, how could you say that? You just went through cancer, you just went through this, you just went through that, whatever it was. In my case, I think it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it caused me to have to dig down and just really figure out who I really was and what I really wanted to be now. you would hope you wouldn't have to go through